Hello, my name is Tyler Barnes. My YouTube channel is Mindcraft, all uppercase letters, craft with a K.
And I'm Justin Pill, and my YouTube is Justin Pill, right? So it's capital J and the rest is lowercase letters. And yeah, what's up, guys? How you doing, Tyler?
Not bad.
Good, man.
So
The
it's pretty,
smoke is gross, eh?
yeah, that's pretty gross.
It's bugging me all day, days now.
Yeah.
And you're going up too.
Well, I think it's clearing up. I've seen a bit of blue sky yesterday. But we have the second worst air condition in the
Yeah.
world, next to Portland.
Portland's #1, I think, right now, isn't it?
Yeah. But working outside is like smoking 6 to 8 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, but I don't know if I believe that, because think about it. You know, when you have a house fire, right? Think about bleach and various cleaning products you have, Comet. Anything you ever see, you ever throw any of that stuff in a fire, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, when you had a bonfire, you, like, whatever, you'll see stuff, right? Like, you'll throw stuff in there or whatever, like, even just, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you know what I mean? Like, anything is flammable, pretty much, in that type of fire. So, like, it's a house fire, and a fire that's outside, that goes to the house, it covers the whole house, goes right through the house. So, who knows what was actually in there? Copper pipes, lead paint, in the old town of Washington that burnt up.
Yeah.
That all blew here. I come home at noon, and I'm outside. I go back outside,
Yeah.
and there's smoke everywhere, like this, just blowing right at me. And I'm like, nah, I want to go back inside. It's bad. It was so harsh to breathe. It's burning my nose right now.
Yeah.
I had the window open because I need fresh air too, which there's none. So, like, you know, there's like that, and like there would be like everything you can imagine in a house fire, right?
Well, there was that pier too, right? The pier was in New West.
The creosote from that.
So creosote, which is also highly toxic, really bad for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had like garbage. Like, remember 2 years ago there was a garbage fire. Some barge was on fire.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah. So, yeah, that smoke can be pretty toxic.
I don't like breathing that stuff in.
Well, I mean, like cigarettes are pretty toxic on their own.
There's thousands of chemicals in those.
Yeah. Call them trace chemicals because there's just a little bit, just enough.
Just enough to give you cancer eventually.
Yeah. So Karens, eh?
Yeah, I've met lots of women like that.
I think the word Karen is perfect. I like that, Karen.
You know, a lady named Karen, and she was trying to get me to do stuff. She was like saying all this weird stuff in her head. She's like, I just seen your brother outside in a car with his friend in a mafia type deal. I'm like, his fucking friend dropped him off after fishing.
Huh.
Fucking mafia type deal going on. She said that to me. I'm like, are you fucking nuts?
Was she like a real Karen?
Yeah, her name's Karen. And she tried to say I was like doing all this crime, and I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She's trying to like get money from me, and I was like, well, I don't know how you thought this up in your fucking head, but you're fucked. She's nuts, bro. She was telling me one day all this shit. And I don't want to say her last name or anything, but she was telling me like she took all their pills and then put them in one spot and was gonna take them to commit suicide. And I was like, no wonder you're fucked, man. And she was telling me how her boyfriend touched her kids and shit years later, and I was like, well, you should have told me when I was a kid. I already told you this before. And she's crazy, bro. Like, she would always like make up stuff in her head and like tell stuff to people, and I was like, people would say this to me, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Do not talk to me again, because I don't want to hear this bullshit. I'm just trying to walk down the hallway and go fucking to my apartment, so leave me out of it.
So you've known her for a long time?
Since I was a little kid, bro, I'm friends with her kids, and you know what I mean? She would just make shit up in her head, and that's one person.
Karen.
One example of many people I've met, like a lady named Lori, Corinne, Robin, when I lived in housing. Like, the lady would like, they would do weird shit and like get paranoid and think my friends and me are bikers, and we actually weren't. Like, I was making fun of this one guy one time that's a biker. He's in a club, but it was some guy that was on the news and stuff, and he was a really goofy guy. But I was never saying to them that I was like anything like that. And then they would smoke crack and get paranoid and knock on my door and call the police on me and on my neighbor, and just make shit up and make it like so more like blown out of proportion than it ever even was. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a really loud guy, so I'm sure people hear me when I talk and laugh and make fun of people, joke around. but in their heads they think this stuff, and then they'll go and harass you, like they're a hero. Like I just seen this Aboriginal couple on Facebook in a video getting harassed by a white lady that was drunk, said she works for the ministry, and she's like falling over almost, and I don't even know, like I wasn't there, I didn't see what the people did before. They may have done nothing. So she was saying she's gonna get kids taken away, and she's gonna call the cops. Cops are on her payroll, which I don't think that doesn't even make sense, right? If I work for the social services of like British Columbia, the ministry, the cops are on my payroll, right? So that shit like that I would see every day. Like my neighbors too, they were talking to me before and saying stuff about me, and then my landlord, I talked to my landlord, and they were saying all this funny stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that's not true. So he's like, don't worry about it, forget about it. But he had talked to me about it, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, but they're not very right. Sound like they're stupid.
So they're your ideal Karens.
Sorry?
They're your ideal Karen.
Well, yeah, man. Like they would make up stuff and say all this weird stuff, and I'm like, that's so far from the truth that it's unbelievable that you make that up in your head.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of anti-Karens?
Yeah. You told me about that.
Now, there was another.
There was a Karen that went into rehab and wanted to be a non-Karen.
The what?
There was a Karen that went into rehab
Oh yeah.
for non-Karens. You were saying earlier.
No, an anti-Karen actually. Woman was outraged because the polls were taking so long that people were being discouraged from voting, and she was actually very upset because we do have a right to vote, although this is in the States. She was being outraged, saying we should tweet the management of these polls and get a hold of them and tell them what's going on. And then she ended by saying she loved everybody and that we should work together, which is pretty much anti-Karen.
Yeah, but I don't want to work together with everybody. Like when I was younger, I tried my best to keep to myself, and when I didn't keep to myself, with a lot of people, they weren't good. And some people I don't mind. Like I like you. You are my friend, right? But you know what I mean. Like sometimes you'll go somewhere and you'll meet people and you never want to speak to them again because they're so out of it and so ridiculous. And that's I lived this one place and they wanted to make it more like a community with social housing.
Yeah.
And I said to the lady, the caretaker, I'm like, yeah, right. These people all trying to work together. All I ever see them do is fight with each other, try to do stuff to each other because they have nothing better to do. And at the time I was doing nothing all day for days on end, weeks, months, years, but I still did some stuff with my day, yet I didn't try to go out of my way to make anyone else's life harder. They want to rain in your parade, so you got to be careful who you actually talk to.
Yeah. There's a lot of good people out there though. People that will cooperate. You just gotta look for them.
Yeah, I try to fit in, right, and just be good with the person and not make their life more difficult than it already is. Life is hard enough as it is. You don't need that stuff in your life.
Mm-hmm. So, how about water and underwater? You know, only 80% of our oceans, 80% of our oceans are unexplored.
70 or 80?
80.
Crazy.
Apparently we know more about space than we do about the ocean. And with the ocean, the reason they can is because there's so much pressure and there's dramatic climate, like temperatures, that they got to deal with. And it's made it impossible to get to, like, let's say the bottom of the Marianas Trench is something like 7 miles or something. The weight at the bottom is something like 7 jumbo jets on top of you. So that's a lot of pressure, just to give you an idea of why they can't get there. And
well, if you didn't try to go there, your body would explode.
Implode.
If you and me went in, like I'm you know me, I have balls, like I have harsh balls, man. Like I would go in submarine, go down there and everything. It's not a Star Wars movie like the episode. What was it? Episode 2? I can't remember. You know that when they're flying, they're underwater, and that big monster tries to eat them. I'd do that. I'd go in one of those and drive around.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like I know if I'm gonna come back for sure or not, but that's how crazy I am and how much balls I have. Like I would go right in there and get in this, and people would be looking at like Mark before was like looking at me all funny like this. You know how when you talk to a dog, And
Yeah.
they just look at you like that
Yeah.
because they're just so like confused. Like Mark, I said to him before, like, we're gonna do this, and it wasn't like it was something that was stupid. It was just took balls to do it. And he's just like, wow, like that's you're nuts, dude. That's balls. I would jump in that submarine. We would go underwater if we could. Like I want to, but how can we though? I
No.
want to see what's there. I want to save it. The oceans are so toxic, you know.
Yeah. Well, they have this autonomous boat called the Mayflower, and autonomous means it's unmanned. It's completely uh, mechanical, and it's got an AI program that was used for banking, and the software for the AI helps it like steer clear of obstacles, while it collects data on microplastics and toxins in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming out. That should be pretty cool. Maybe,
I want to drive it, control it.
yeah, I bet it could go.
You
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But
get the job. I'd do that for free.
yeah, no
So,
doubt. Yeah, the
that
software is
sounds
IBM. Um,
the software from IBM.
yeah, IBM's like Nazi technology, eh? Like the Nazis
Yeah,
when they
Nazi,
kept
yeah.
track of all the persecuted, they would keep track on the IBM computers. That's where they got most of their money. That's how they got started. Bet you didn't know that.
No, actually, I didn't know exactly. Wicked.
Yeah.
I didn't know that exactly. Yeah, man, that was crazy Hitler and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still to this day couldn't believe watching that.
Watching what?
Hitler's bullshit on TV.
Oh,
on History
yeah, all
Channel.
that stuff. Well,
Yeah, I know. I worked with these guys, the soldiers of Odin, and one of them said he's like proud to be white, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm just whatever. I'm just a human. I'd be proud to be black, if I was black or Chinese, or I'd just be proud to be a human. I don't think any of that stuff's relevant to what to this day and age. Like, I don't give a shit, man.
yeah,
I really don't care. But
Yeah.
listen, like, he said, like, when I was talking about what we were talking about, Hitler, and he's like, well, the economy was bad, and Hitler made the economy better. I'm like, I don't care, man. Look what he did to those Jewish people. I have Jewish friends, man, and that's not, you know what I'm saying, dude?
yeah,
Never should have happened.
yeah. No,
I'm
Hitler
so
was
happy
sick.
that. Sorry?
Hitler was sick. He was a sick man.
I'm so happy they didn't win, though. And, like, they're not in power now.
Mm-hmm. Because
Are you?
we probably wouldn't be alive.
They would kill me, too, because I'm only part German, dude. And I think that
That's more than
if
me.
we were in power, they would kill us all.
Yeah, if they want. Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, they apparently accepted part German. I mean, German people that didn't have blonde hair, but they wanted to make this goofy superior race. How the hell is having blonde hair and blue eyes a superior race? It isn't to me.
I don't know.
That's
Strange
what they
beliefs.
thought, didn't
Yeah, that's what Hitler thought.
they? Don't get me wrong, man, but I'm just saying, like, I think everyone's superior and are equal. Like that, like, you know what I mean? No race is better than the other race.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't agree with me on that. They always argue, and it's just whatever, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a climate nowadays. People are arguing about everything and getting mad about all sorts of
I
stuff.
don't want to fight with you or anyone else because life's too short as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just be having a great time. And so should you and everyone else. They're just wasting time.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard to have a good time.
I have a hard time fitting in with people when I don't even really want to know them. I just like to do my own thing. But like people will always argue with me when I was like filming the in Canada Day March.
Mm-hmm.
People were giving me dirty looks and came up and asked me what I was filming, and I was like, I'm filming this because my friends wanted to see it, and I feel like filming it. What's your problem?
Yeah, I saw that.
And they thought it was Soldiers of Odin, and I'm like, yeah, sure. I was like, I'm really gonna join that goofy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm standing here with my friend who's black. Like, get real, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get real for sure. So, yeah,
Their heads are shaking.
so Michael Jordan's a billionaire now, eh?
And unfortunately,
Yeah.
not saying that I want more black people to become that. I do. I really want that to happen. but not at 20 cents an hour or whatever they sell it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even like Jordan shoes. I only like the few pairs of Nikes I used to love, but I don't even wear Nike anymore, really. I have some Nike stuff, but I won't buy anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
And
the
just,
sweatshops, they pay.
well, so was Puma, so was Adidas, so was Fila, so was Reebok. All of that stuff, everything we consume was made in China or some kind of sweatshop in Bangladesh. The conditions in India, in North India, you know, the factory collapsed on all those people.
Fuck.
That's how cheap capitalism is. Like, capitalism is great, but not everyone like you or me can be as rich as the person that's using capitalism for their advantage.
Yeah, capitalism, like, people think it's capitalism, but what do you really own? Like, what do you own? You pay taxes on your house. You don't own it.
You don't own nothing.
You don't own nothing. So, like, what is this capitalism
The bank owns
conversation
that
about?
house.
Bank owns, yeah.
Doesn't it? Like, the bank will own like the house, the apartment. Like, the bank owns it, not the manager or the people that bought this property. The bank actually owns it.
I mean, I guess you could own a car.
You don't really own it though.
Yeah, you got to pay insurance. You got to keep, yeah, you got to pay insurance.
Gas.
Gas.
I remember having my friend's car and driving it around, and it kept breaking down. I would just be like this, sitting in there driving and cruising around, and then all of a sudden it says check oil. And I'm like, I don't want to drive this. I don't want to drive, man. Like, this is not like how fun it's supposed to be. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I was enjoying it. I was going to do some stuff. Like, I wanted to get out of the house today, so he's like, drive my truck. And one time his car, and then, but it kept like having problems. I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, it's hurting.
Yeah, for sure.
Same with a house. You buy a house, and the roof costs $500,000 sometimes for some houses to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger houses.
Totally.
So it's all crazy. And I think only insurance only covers so much of that cost, if any.
Totally. So I guess we should wrap it up, eh?
Well, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. About what?
Fame.
I don't know. Fame turns good bands into sellouts. So,
Yeah, it does.
I wasn't into Blink 182, but I noticed a huge difference when they started getting famous in their music. Fame. Billionaires.
They changed. Their hair's changed.
Billionaires are like dragons, like hoarding loot. Like you don't need that much money, man.
No, I would like to have that much though. I would end up spending it on you and other people. I don't need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need 500 pairs of shoes or in cars and all these stupid things. Like, I want a lot of that stuff, but I don't need as much as like I've seen people that are rich have. I'm like, why do you have all this junk? It's way too ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I
When
agree.
a person doesn't have anything to eat in another country.
Totally.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean about it.
Yeah.
Pissed me off.
Yeah, it's kind of a piss off. Well, anyways, thank you for watching. I love all you guys. Live long and prosper.
Yeah, man, live long and prosper. That's funny, eh, Bob?
Yeah, and stay tuned.
Sorry?